Okay, I did this whole page transfer and recorded it, and all I got was the ceiling. So I'm gonna do another one, hopefully keeping this down facing the right direction. So this is my picture that I'm going to use, and I'm going to transfer this onto this page. I have not done this before in junk journals until today, and it worked pretty good on the last one. This is just a coffee dyed piece of typing paper. It is very thin. I am putting matte medium all over the whole page. The reason I'm doing this is because it'll help the image transfer, but it will also strengthen the page. Now I'm going to put matte medium on my paper. I am using Mod Podge matte medium today because I can get it at my local store, my local Walmart, and we don't have any craft stores near here. So you don't want to get Mod Podge on the back of your transfer. Now you put it on the page where you want it to go. And again, make sure your hands are clean because you don't want this on your, you don't want the Mod Podge on your paper. And you put this down. This works best with high contrast, black and white, or color. It doesn't matter as long as there's lots of contrast on the page, on the picture. That helps it to really be more, come out more towards you. You can see it more. Let me just flip over here. This has got to dry for several hours. See if I can find the page that I just did. Ah, here it is. So these were okay. They came out pretty much the way I wanted them to. The Demon Child and the Haunted House. These are now part of the page. There's no paper on it. It's not glued down paper. It is actually the ink that has been transferred onto the page. So that's what we're doing with Frankenstein. And I'm just going to just make sure that he is well stuck down and that all of the paper is connected. Whatever is not pushed into the paper won't transfer. Now, you can let this dry for 8 or 9 hours. I'm actually going to go ahead and dry this using a hairdryer. And I will mute it. Alright, let me let this cool. I think it's probably dry enough. It really should be all the way dry. You want the matte medium to be dry all the way through. Otherwise, when you put water on it, it will come up. I can still feel some coolness in here. Alright, well, I'm going to try it gently. We'll see what happens. I have a little sponge, some water, and I'm just going to sponge a little bit of water on this. You don't want a lot because it will damage your paper. So you can see the paper starting to come off. You just want to go easy because otherwise you'll pull the ink off too. You can do this with a sponge. You can also do this with your fingers. Sometimes I find it easier on some images. If you're using a magazine image, this is a laser print. You can also do it with magazine images or book pages. Some work better than others. The paper is easier to get off of than others. I just like being able to print out some of my pictures and do these. It gives it a really moody, I think. Now, as this dries, it will get white again because there are several layers of paper that have to come off. And you just have to let it dry and then go back and do it again. And let it dry and go back and do it again. I'm going to scrub a little harder on the edges. Oh man, my paper's coming apart. This is what I didn't want to happen. You can see on the edges here where it's coming off. That's okay with me. I really don't want the edges to be super obvious anyway. So if I scrub a little harder on them, some of that will come up. But again, see up here where this is coming off? My paper's tearing. So I'll have to go in and reinforce that with some tape later. But right now, I just want to get this. Oh, there goes my paper. Okay, we're just going to have to let that dry some. You can see the spots where it's coming through. And again, because this is the kind of paper that it is, if you do this on a stronger paper or a cardstock, it does not come apart like this. Unfortunately, this is just typing paper, copy paper, and it does tear really easily when it's wet. So I'm just going to let this dry. See, I've just rubbed a hole in it over here too. All right, I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll come back in with some tape, and we will finish Frankenstein up cloudy as he dries. So I'm just going to go in with a very lightly damp sponge and go back over him again to see if I can get just this tiny little bit more paper off without tearing him up or tearing my paper anymore. And then once that is done, and this is just really just lightly brushing the sponge over the paper. I'm not putting any pressure at all on this particular one. Sometimes you can press more, but on this one, if I press more, I'm going to take him up. I'm going to go ahead and dry him now. Okay, now I'm going to use workable fixative, which is another way of doing it if you don't want to use spray varnish. Just put that on it. Or Mod Podge. If you don't want to put more Mod Podge on, you can do this. And let that dry. I don't know if I'm going to repair these pages or if I'm just going to let them sit. And to repair this page that I screwed up, I'm going to put down a little bit of layer of Fabri-Tac. Get my tape here. This is actually botanical tape, but it's the same color as the page next door. So I'm just going to put a stripe of this down here, like so, all the way down. A stripe down here, all the way down. This is because washi tape is not the most sticky tape in the world, and I don't want this to come off. That will go there. Then I'm probably going to put another layer down here. You could also go in and just repair it with a piece of paper. Do the same thing and just glue the paper down to it. But I found that the washi tape works pretty well. And it's got, this particular washi tape has got a little bit of a plasticky coating on it. So it will also help. Just hold that in there. All right. So now this page is ready for, if I want to do something else on it. I think I want to do a quote about the faces that we wear. And I'll have to find one to put on it. And this one, I think it's going to get a quote about going home no matter what. So that's that.